He watched her quietly place her wedding ring on the table. Not because she was leaving him, not because she was angry, but because she believed it was the only way they would survive together. Daniel Carter had spent his life building success from nothing. He was the kind of man people admired from a distance, a businessman who turned small ideas into massive companies, a husband and father who provided comfort, security, and a life many dreamed of. But somewhere along the way, Daniel began to feel invisible inside his own home. Family dinners felt rushed. Phone calls felt transactional. Love felt conditional. Late one evening, Daniel sat alone in his quiet living room, the city lights glowing through the tall windows. The house was beautiful, but it felt empty. He whispered to himself, "If I had nothing, would anyone still stay?" That question didn't leave him. After weeks of prayer, reflection, and silence, Daniel made a decision that would test not only his family, but his own heart. Daniel told his lawyer and accountant to remain silent. Then one night he gathered his family. His voice was calm, but heavy. "I lost everything," he said. "The business failed. The accounts are frozen. There's nothing left." The room went quiet. His children stared in disbelief. Relatives avoided eye contact. Within weeks, everything changed. The mansion was sold, the cars were gone, the staff disappeared. Daniel and his wife, Emily, moved into a small, aging apartment on the edge of town. The walls were thin, the furniture was worn, the silence was loud, and slowly, people vanished. Phone calls stopped, messages went unanswered, excuses replaced affection. Daniel felt the weight of humiliation, but he stayed silent. The real test hadn't begun yet. Emily stood in the center of the tiny apartment, quietly taking it all in. Daniel watched her carefully. He expected fear, anger, resentment. Instead, she smiled softly and said, "Well, we'll figure it out." The next morning, Emily woke before sunrise. She prepared a simple breakfast and kissed Daniel on the forehead. "I found work," she said gently. She had taken a job at a local sewing shop, long hours, low pay, but she never complained. One evening, Daniel noticed something missing, her wedding ring. His heart dropped. "Emily, where is it?" he asked. She hesitated, then placed a small envelope in his hand. "I sold it," she said softly. "Just for now." Daniel's voice shook. "That ring, it meant everything." She looked at him with calm eyes. "You mean everything," she replied. The ring was just a symbol. That night, Daniel turned away so she wouldn't see his tears. Days turned into weeks. Emily packed lunches for both of them, even when there wasn't much to pack. She walked to work to save money. She laughed at things that didn't deserve laughter. She prayed quietly when Daniel thought she was asleep. One evening, Daniel sat on the edge of the bed and said, "I feel like a burden." Emily reached for his hand. "We're not surviving this despite each other," she said. "We're surviving because of each other." Daniel felt something shift inside him. For the first time in years, love felt real again. Months later, Daniel pushed the test further, though his heart begged him not to. One night, he said softly, "You deserve better than this. Maybe you should leave." Emily froze. Then she slowly shook her head. "I didn't marry your success," she said. "I married your soul." She held his face in her hands. If God gave us less, He did it for a reason. And if this is our season, then I'll stay in it with you. That night, Daniel knew. The test was over, but the truth still remained. The next afternoon, Daniel asked Emily to meet him at a small cafe. She thought he wanted to talk about money. Instead, he slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents, bank statements, proof. Her hands began to tremble. "What is this?" she asked. Daniel took a deep breath. "I never lost the money," he said quietly. "I wanted to know who would stay if I did." Silence filled the space between them. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but not relief. Pain. "You tested me?" she whispered. Daniel's voice broke. "I tested love and found something purer than I ever deserved." Emily stood up slowly. She didn't yell. She didn't storm out. She said one sentence that Daniel would never forget. "I never tested you because I trusted you." Daniel fell to his knees right there in the cafe. That night, Daniel told her everything. Why he did it, what he feared, what he learned. Emily listened quietly. Then she said, "Next time you doubt love, talk to me. Don't test it." Daniel promised he never would again. Weeks later, Daniel gathered the family. The same people who had disappeared suddenly reappeared. He didn't argue. He didn't accuse. He simply said, "When I had nothing, most of you were gone." Then he turned to Emily. "When I had nothing, she gave me everything." Daniel changed his will that very day. Large portions of his wealth went to charity. Education funds were set aside for his children, and Emily was given something far greater than money: trust. Years later, Daniel was asked in an interview, "What's the greatest investment you ever made?" He smiled. "My wife. Because money comes and goes, status fades, but loyalty lasts forever." Sometimes, the people who stay when life gets small are the ones who make life truly meaningful. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who believes in love, faith, and quiet kindness.